Hello, disc golf fans, and welcome to the Front Nine coverage of Round 1 of the 2021 Portland Open, presented by Dynamic Discs. I'm Brian Earhart, joined here again by my co-host Nate Perkins. We're back on the Disc Golf Pro Tour, Nate, and we are in beautiful Portland, Oregon, after having to take a year off last year.
Yeah, we haven't been here since 2019 Portland Open at Blue Lake. We are right down the street from Blue Lake at a brand new venue, Glendevere Golf Course.
Very long, very open for the most part. It's kind of a bomber's paradise. A lot of rollers we're seeing a lot of players throw in practice. This back nine is one of the hardest to score on that I've ever seen. So we will see how our card does. Moving into hole number 1, this beautiful Flight Factory flyover. It's been described as a longer version of hole 3 at Winthrop Gold. OB on the left side, funneling to the basket, 540. This is a really tough birdie. They want you to throw that low ceiling flip up turnover.
Yeah, very specific shape if you want to get in circle 1 here. You have a tree on your right that doesn't allow you to throw directly at the basket. You kind of have to throw directly at that OB sidewalk on the left.
And Paul's going Undertaker. So he can get an Undertaker this distance, and he's looking for a late flip if he is going for the pin. And that looks pretty hard turn.
14 Wet Willie.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to trust it and throw that directly at the out of bounds. You see he kind of played it safe with the overturn right there.
And a new Team Discraft member, Scott Withers. He is a phenomenal athlete and phenomenal disc golfer. Kind of a hidden boss in the Pacific Northwest. Doesn't tour that much, but can keep up with anybody.
Yeah, Scott has been 1,000 rated since 2012, and he's one of only a handful of players to ever reach the 1040 mark.
Yeah, an absolutely ruthless competitor.
Open champion in the advanced division, Chris Clemons.
And the announcer was really pulling some deep victories from our PDGA stats, reaching back into Chris's advanced days to pull out a win to announce for him. Interested to see how the lefty plays this course. Hole 1, definitely a little easier for the lefties to play safe on. The birdie is kind of out of play, but as you can see, this hyzer back in bounds is going to be a very simple up and down for a 3 for Chris.
It's a nice shot. I would say that's relatively conservative right there.
Yeah.
He could definitely attack.
Colorado, your 2017 Lake Dillon Panorama champion, Joel Freeman.
And Ronald McDonald is back. You've seen the memes. I love watching Joel play. Huge sidearm.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to see this. He loves to start these out on a real significant Anheuser.
Ooh, and that one was very overstable. I think you were right. He was probably trying to get that to start an Anheuser. Started playing disc golf with a champion boss. Not too many years ago, surprisingly enough. Here's Scott from a weird spot. Little straddle sidearm. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to see Joel back out here after a pretty stellar 2019 season. Multiple top 10 finishes, a couple podium finishes, finishing 3rd at Delaware. Joel took nearly a year off. He only played 3 events in 2020, all local.
Little spinner from Chris. And yeah, Joel got married, and Scott squeezes the par putt in. Yeah, Joel got married, and I think just due to COVID and whatnot, a few different factors led him to take a year off, and he looked very at ease at the end of the 2019 season doing that. So it's nice to see him back on the road with his wife alongside of him, continuing to live his dream.
Yeah, it's one of the things I love about disc golf is that it's not ever going anywhere.
Nope.
It's there for you in whatever capacity you want it to be there for.
We see Juliana Korver back here at age 50 out here getting podium finishes. Hole number 2, Nate, is an early gap, 693 feet, par 4, pretty straightforward open fairway, slightly protected basket. A lot of players are just going to blast a hyzer flip as far as they can. A new development, though. You'll see a lot of players teeing off from the side. This was allowed by the tournament director and Jeff Spring of the Pro Tour. These new turf tee pads that were put in were very, very spongy. I believe
that's a
Drew
good word.
Gibson dropped out of the tournament because he injured his ankle trying to pivot on these tee pads.
Is that how he injured himself
Yes.
on the pads? That is
And
tragic.
They have tightened up the tee pads since the practice rounds. They've done some work trimming. But because it's a little late, the TD is allowing the players to tee off from the side, opening up this turnover route and kind of taking that early gap out of play. And as you can see, our card has all put their drives in the middle of the fairway.
I'd say hole 2 is the easiest hole out here at Glendevere.
Definitely. And Joel sticking with the tee pad, throwing a long hyzer flip backhand.
Joel is one of the players that I think about that fully turns around.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, and during that X step, he is completely facing away from the target.
And another early release sidearm from Scott. That was a pretty scooping hyzer, as you could see. And he'll be short right. Here comes Clemons with a nice hyzer backhand, soft skip. Chris's touch backhand is amazing. You see the power sidearm, but he has really good angle control over the backhand.
Yeah, I just love these shots that Joel throws with his Firebirds.
Wow.
Cooked it a little long right there.
And look how far Paul is. Just a putter.
What?
Actually, a
Whoa.
great kick off that tree. That was also cooking a little bit. Yes, and Scott just squeaks one in on the weak side. Please rewind this.
Full on jump, little bit of wobble right on the pole.
Tempo
What a
was
putt.
perfect, and that's the start that Scott wanted. He knows he made a couple mistakes on the sidearm, but this is why he's 1040 rated.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch him play. He has 111 wins, Brian.
Yeah. Just low from Joel.
A 100 win mark is pretty rare.
And Paul right on the pole as well. Even winning 100 C tiers in the Open Division is very impressive. Just showing up and beating any competition. Sometimes you get those sneaky local pros that play the course you're competing on every day. And to even win 100 of anything is insanely impressive in this game.
All right, there's a couple options here on hole 3. It's a par 4, 777 feet. This is the main gap right here, but we have seen players go with the power roller on this left side. There's a little bit of OB deep and to the left of this pin, and the green is, it's on an original golf green, so it's got that slight slope all around it.
And as you can see, using that tournament director announcement to his advantage, Paul is going with the left side roller. That's hooking up a little early, though. The more right you are, the farther away from the pin you're going to be, which I think is what tempts the player to still go up the gut with the backhand, but high percentage play to just throw the roller out left. Yeah, you'll see Scott do the same thing. But you are still challenging these trees. And Scott's thrown a fantastic roller. We will see how far away he is from there. Should be about 300 to 350. Chris going maybe lefty roller. Oh, yeah.
Through that main gap. That looks great. Oh.
Just hits a little bit of a root, but still puts him to a great spot. And with him being a lefty, he's going to be fading away from the out of bounds on his second.
Joel also lining up the roller, and look how sharp of an angle he's taking into the front of the pad here.
Being very mindful of his footwork. This actually looks pretty good if it misses these trees.
Wow.
Uh-huh. What?
They're rolling backwards now?
That's a fantastic, that's perfect.
Yeah, it
That's
is.
exactly where you want to be. He has a sidearm into the green.
Yeah, probably 250 in, maybe less.
Uh-oh. That's got to keep coming. That's got to skip off that
needs
path.
help.
Oh, no, Chris.
Man, that was a misfire right there.
Definitely. And Paul going.
Is it a mid?
I believe that's
Just gently flipping up.
That's got to be either a Buzz or a Luna from Paul. That looked like it was going to hyzer a lot harder
Yeah, just
than it
gentle
did.
lift.
Yeah.
Back up to flat. Kind of a big swing right there on his forehand. And notice that he reaches, much further back than we're used to seeing.
And it worked out for him.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, Joel keeps his forehand very compact, elbow tucked in. I feel like there's a couple schools of thought with the sidearm. And we just kind of watched both of them. And from the out of bounds, Chris is going to have to get up and down. Unfortunately for his bogey.
Yeah, that one hurts. As you said, the scoring gets quite a bit tougher on the back. These first 7 holes are really where you want to get things started.
Paul with a great birdie putt. That's 2 out of the last 3. And Joel missing low, not capitalizing on the huge roller he threw. And he knows it.
Yeah, he didn't quite get fully down in his stance. He didn't quite get...
Yeah, that's Joel's miss
extension
normally. Joel's
like
miss
that.
is low, yeah.
Yeah.
When he doesn't quite get the timing down, that's usually going straight into the cage. He rarely misses left or right from what I've seen. Chris tapping in the unfortunate bogey, and Scott getting a very easy birdie. Yeah, like you said, the first stretch of this course, you have to put your foot on the gas. And we move into hole number 4, par 3, 393, this beautiful gap, kind of winding through these trees. It's kind of a subtle flex if you are playing up the gut. Again, players are getting smart with this new play to the side of the tee pad, and they are likely going to be going around with these big panning anhyzer shots. I believe this is a Luna.
He's laying down a roller.
Huh. Maybe that wasn't a Luna. Great roller from Paul.
Who knows these days, Brian, with Eagle shocked us quite a bit.
Yeah, rolling an
OTB,
MD3.
rolling that mid.
And another roller from Scott coming into the side. These technical rollers are really challenging to get correct.
Yeah, to start it out that wide and then to make sure that it finishes back into the right, really need something understable.
And Joel going up the gut with something very overstable. And that's going to be...
All right, this is the shot I wanted to see right here. This baby flex.
As long as that moves right, that should be okay. It looks like it's fading out a bit early.
Wow, look at that. Plenty of pace. He's gone deep right there in a 400-foot tunnel shot.
Joel with a little putter flick. You see him practicing those little putter flicks quite often. He does like to run those throw-ins.
He really does. Is he still doing that with the whale?
I believe so, which is another really unique thing about Joel's game. And missing low yet again, just the confidence in the putt is not there yet. On the other side, Scott hits a beautiful putt from his roller, straddle around the tree from about 25-30, and he's 3 for 4. This is a good pace for him, and now he's kind of putting pressure on Paul right off the bat. Paul having to go almost all straddle in 2015 due to a back injury, which actually probably in the long run is going to help him with these types of putts. Yeah, sneaks it in that strong side.
Wow, that was 2015, and that was like his
2015?
most dominant season as
Yeah.
well.
Played through some of the most pain that he says he's ever had to play through because of over practicing that off season. Yeah.
Hey, this is Paul McBeth. Thank you for watching. If you hadn't had a chance yet, go check out the Paul McBeth Foundation. If you can help in any way, please reach out. And I look forward to putting more projects and more courses in the ground.
All right, hole 5, par 4, 636. Again, we have multiple options off the tee. There are a couple tunnel shots in front of you. Most players are going with this wide roller again, and this green. The more ground that you can cover off the tee pad, the easier this approach is, because there is hazard short and OB just long.
Yes, very small greens, so it is really begging for you to get as much as you can off this shot, and I think you're going to see a lot of what Paul's doing here. This is a giant roller.
Gosh.
No way.
What?
Paul's going to have an eagle look
gonna
from
jump
there.
putt,
That is
Brian.
every bit of 550. And again, that's
That's same disc. We need to find out what that
Yeah.
one is. Maybe that's the Undertaker, actually.
it
that
could
he's
be an
just rolled.
Undertaker, or he is rolling a Scorch, which is a new disc from
Okay, the new
Discraft,
mold.
which is a heat that feels like it's been stretched out to an 11 speed. Look at Scott's roller.
What's
This is going to go even
happening?
farther.
Oh, these guys are just breaking this hole apart. He's going to have nothing in the way right there.
And Chris not really having the luxury of doing that. Just going to throw the nice simple lefty hyzer out into the fairway. He's still only going to have maybe 250 feet to the basket. Here's Joel lining up roller as well. A little higher. It's going to hit the ground with a little bit more force, which could slow it down.
But it's flipping up nice. Wow.
Okay. And he's
That-
almost
that's
outdone Paul's
the
drive.
best one.
Chris actually having to play the hole here.
Oh, that needs to
Putter.
carry.
And just short of the
It's
OB.
a little help right there even. Look at this.
This is Paul from 90 for a birdie. Oh! Just over the top of the basket. And this is for an eagle as well. Much weaker bid, but definitely still there.
Here we go.
Easy birdie for Scott.
Stay up is right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
We're
Joel
okay.
is fine with a birdie here. Chris for a long birdie.
He likes this distance.
And this is also Chris's misses low. No, like he is so dialed with that push putt. He rarely misses left or right. Anytime he doesn't commit, it's going to look like that. And that's the 4th birdie in a row for Paul McBeth. One of the better all-around shot makers in the game. So really roller, air shot, hyzer, max distance. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Brian, this is a pretty big event for Paul. This is the last event that he's playing before the World Championships.
And working on those long distance shots on the golf course, we move into number 6. This is begging for a right-handed max distance shot off the tee. High turnover, OB left, OB right, OB sand bunkers around the green.
Yeah, the nose angle is just so important here. You get the nose up a little bit too much, you're going to fade out and find that OB on the left side. Not enough turn, and you're just not going to cover enough distance. This is a very tricky green. You want to be close here.
Yeah, and Paul has gone way up that fairway, and it looks like Scott's is not going to get a full flight and pick up that extra speed, but he'll still be about 350 to 400 from the basket. Joel's looking pretty good. That's going to flatten out. Oh, yes. Mr. Freeman.
Huge shot with the destroyer right there from Joel.
Oh, yeah. And he's going to be 330 to the basket, which is exactly what you want. And yet again, anytime the righty gets to throw a max distance shot off the tee, lefties are stuck having to play the hole a little bit shorter than everybody else.
Because they have to throw
They have
hyzer.
to throw the simple hyzer that crashes rather than flattens and pans out. So kind of a tough way of balancing those types of long distance tee shots. And Scott sawed off the forehand yet again, and that's out of bounds to the right. Kind of the same mistake all 3 times we've watched it. Chris going wide backhand, skipping up. There's the OB green.
What a shot.
And he's on the fringe from about 25 feet for birdie.
Yeah, he had to go driver into the green there. Fantastic shot.
And Paul opting for just a soft backhand straight at it. And he's on the edge of circle 1.
Joel just loves that multi-angle forehand approach.
Yeah, he loves just coming in super Anheuser. And again, that kind of talks about and explains like how he started playing disc golf. A lot of players will go and get the most overstable disc they can and try to chop it on Anheuser, and he just stuck with it.
Oh, yeah, that was straight at the hazard.
The stroke looks really solid from Paul. That's 5 in a row for him. Only missing hole 1, which I believe only had 1 or 2 birdies on the day.
Yeah, shout out to AJ Carey. I don't know if there was another one.
Shout out to the AJ. I did see that one for sure. That is an insane birdie to start the round. As Chris also gets a birdie and puts himself to 1 under par.
Let's see if Joel can make the correction here. Just hasn't quite got the legs involved enough to get the putter up and over the rim.
There it is. Joel, very pleased. The disc golf gods have allowed him to get his putt over the rim. And Scott, unfortunate bogey after that kind of errant sidearm yet again.
The destroyer is essential on tour. One of the most versatile distance drivers in Innova's lineup. The new Halo plastic is probably the prettiest plastic that Innova has in their lineup. It makes for a really cool disc to bag. Very confident in throwing the destroyer and keeping it in bounds at far ranges.
Moving into hole number 7, 1,263-foot, 90-degree turn, par 5. Players are going to blast a drive as far as they can right before these OB greens and bunkers. Bend around the corner to this flat spot and then over this pond and OB bunker and OB green to this protected elevated basket with OB right behind it. So very touchy hole as you get closer to the basket.
Yeah, I would say that this is the signature hole on the property. It's pretty featureless on the drive. but that Mando on the right is kind of in your head a little bit, and you kind of want to have a good angle to either cut that Mando off or have enough distance off the tee to go completely around
Exactly.
it and still put yourself in position.
Yeah, you wonder if you're going to see any power rollers off the tee that get them to the corner to make them tempted to go for the eagle, which
I would love to see someone cut the
on
corner
this
with a
hole, that
roller.
would be just unheard of. But I do think it's doable for a few players. Scott going with an air shot. And let's actually jump back after that long hyzer. Let's do a quick form check on Scott. We haven't quite seen him throw up close. But a common theme for a lot of really solid backhand players is the disc is in this neutral position. You see that 90-degree angle made with his forearm and bracing against the front foot. You don't see that front knee bending as he's pulling the disc and rotating. He puts all of his rotation into that front foot and then lets his body follow through afterwards. Pretty textbook throw, honestly, from Scott. Pretty
Textbook.
simple.
Great work with the offhand.
Yeah, not a lot of extra movement.
And Chris pretty far out of position there, and also on that he's going to be 450 plus into the tough green. Whoa.
And this is a thumber roller from Joel?
And we've seen him bust this out before. That one curled out a little quick on him.
Wow. That one was not sawed off. That came out with some heat.
Yeah, he smoked that forehand.
And he gets the forward roll.
Oh, that's in prime position right there.
He'll be 350 to the green. Paul also looking to go sidearm here. Inside flex. Yeah, and he should be just fine.
Oh, Chris looks like he's laying up right here.
It would just be very difficult to get a driver, max distance driver to land so softly on that green. He's just going to cut his losses and try to take a par.
And when the hole's 1260, it's really easy to get out of position.
Exactly.
You need 400 on the first two shots minimum. And a great fourth right there from Chris. Imagine Paul is going Luna here.
Yeah. Very neutral flight.
A little too much hyzer and a little low out of the hand, but still finds circle one.
And he put a little too much hyzer on it as well. That's got to sit. And it does, but still just outside circle one, about 40, 45 feet. This is Joel getting up and down for par. This is his fourth shot.
There's that gator again.
Yeah, great shot from Joel. That's going to be his par putt. See if Scott can get back on the horse and erase this bogey.
Oh, another
And
long one.
That is so risky. There's OB right behind the basket, elevated pin, and it's coming in on hyzer. That is trust in your equipment and the tempo, too, to have the disc drop on the weak side like that.
Yeah, it's hard to get left side to stick like that. Great pace.
Yeah, that is putting to the chains and not through the chains on that one. It looks like Paul has been putting a little work into his putt because that is now his sixth birdie in a row. And every putt that it looks like he's taken has looked really, really solid. And Chris is going to take that par. which again, on a hole this long,
Yeah, it was a good par.
not terrible.
He was out of position after a slip off the tee and threw 2 setup shots and a great approach. And same with Joel. He was out of position after that dumber roller.
Oh, yeah.
Set himself up.
Hole number 8, 438, low ceiling, Mando tree on the right side. You cannot go wide hyzer. A lot of players are going roller on this because they see the ceiling and they know it's just really low.
It's uphill enough. It plays like 475. This is such a tough hole to get with an air shot.
And Paul laying down a roller
Oh,
again.
that looks great. He's going to find that outside gap.
This looks like a new disc that he's throwing. I don't think this is the Scorch either. It looks translucent. It doesn't look like ESP plastic. I would guess Avenger SS or a Heat. And Scott's going just
What
up the
a
gut
rope.
backhand.
Find it. And look at that. That was a beautiful shot. Flipped up nice. Got a full flight, and he's still 55 short.
I think this hole plays more about 500 feet when you take the ceiling and the uphill into consideration. It is a far hole. And that's why roller does kind of come off as the optimal play here. Joel laying one down. That might come up a little early. It's got to hold that cut for a long time. A lot longer than you think. And this is the line that I took in the round. Yep. Lefty cut roller. Almost had enough cut on it to get going. And you know, there's a lot of people throwing rollers on this track. And, you know, sometimes I think some fans online are saying it's kind of a shame to watch that. And I think just over time, as players begin to get so good at these types of shots, the course design is going to change. You know, you watch in Finland, there's not a lot of holes on the Finnish Pro Tour where players are throwing endless rollers.
Yeah.
And I just believe that as we get more and more beautiful pieces of property and private disc golf courses become more commonplace, I don't think players are going to need to break the hole per se with a roller. You know, this course was put in. It was kind of a last-minute effort to keep the Portland Open alive by the Pro Tour. And when these little details kind of get missed in the course design, the players are going to attack it in any way they can with no shame.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. It was on Gatekeeper's channel. Always awesome to have them out here. My name is Scott Withers. Really fun round at the Portland Open today. I want to give a shout out to my sponsors, Discraft, Resistance Discs, Pound Disc Golf, and Flight Towel. Thanks guys.
All right, Nate.
Hole 9, Brian. It says 1342. It plays like 1,000 feet to get to the top of this hill right here, and then it's like 550 from the, if you can see the basket at the top of the hill. So I would say it plays closer to 1,600 feet. One of the longest playing holes that I've ever played.
Yeah, teeing off downhill. This is averaging a 5.65, so kind of like an easy par 6. It's like the more mellow cousin of hole 12 at Northwoods, which is a little bit more menacing. A few gaps to take.
Yeah, there is out of bounds on that left side that splits the rest of the property up. And there was a right to left win on Friday, and it kind of took the roller out of play a little bit. And we saw a lot of players finding that out of bounds on the left side because of that right to left win.
And Joel going pretty textbook little flex shot. And yeah, getting to that golf fairway that's a great spot
It's a big
to be.
shot.
And the lefty, that's kind of what the lefty has to do on this hole. And it's a real shame he threw that a little high.
Oh, it's going to be such a long hole now.
Oh no, Chris.
Yeah, he's doing everything he can to get enough distance, but just overcooked that one a little bit.
And a big turnover uphill from Paul. If he gets to the top of the hill, he might have a look at the basket for a birdie, which, practicing this hole, I can't fathom a 4 on this hole.
Yeah, you know, even the longest courses that we've ever played is still, if you can play golf at 400 feet, you still have a chance of winning. I don't think that that's the case here.
No.
This is the first course that I truly felt like you needed 500 feet of power on command to even have a shot.
Definitely. And Joel going full flight on that one.
Like, that's just to the top of the hill. They might be able to see the pin from there. And again, it's like 500 plus into a green that has quite a bit of out of bounds.
Yeah. And Chris on his third, still not to the top of the hill. Paul's still not to the top of the hill. He's going to go roller.
His second shot was full flight.
Paul going roller here.
And I think you were making a great point there, Brian, and I am actually curious what the collective audience thinks about so many rollers. If you guys want to leave some comments on this video and let us know. Do you like seeing the roller? Would you prefer to see a course where the players have to throw more shots in the air?
Yeah, that's safe.
Hurt my ears. And I think this is just how sports evolve. You know, eventually course designers are going to see that and go, we don't really want that to be the optimal play off the tee. It's kind of cool to watch some individuality come out and have someone throw those cool technical rollers, or sometimes Eagle busts out a really huge roller that no one else can throw. But yeah, when it's the optimal shot, you really wonder, you know, how else could this have been done? But again, there's a title on the line. And the players are going to play whatever course they're given. They're going to play the cards they're dealt. And again, a 5.69 average on this hole. This is Paul for birdie.
That's where that roller ended up?
Yes.
Wow. And the blackberry bush is right there out of bounds, I believe. Wow. Ooh, squeaks it in.
Joel's going to get his 5, taking 0.69 strokes on the field. That's pretty much a birdie.
A solid front 9 from Paul McBeth, 6 through 9.
Especially going into this back stretch. Scott's also going to get his par. A bogey for Chris puts him at even par for the round, moving into this tough back stretch. Paul also gets a par. 6 under through the front 9 on this track is exactly where you want to be if you want to play for the win. 6 birdies in a row for Paul. Scott Withers, though, with the 1 bogey, almost keeping pace with Paul at 4 under. We move into the back 9, which is absolutely wicked.
Yeah, can't wait to watch these guys attack it.
Again,
it's a treat. Glendevere Golf Course.
It's beautiful out here.
Thank you,
in
Brian.
Portland, Oregon. Absolutely. And again, make sure to subscribe to Gatekeeper Media on YouTube. I'm Brian Earhart. He's Nate Perkins. We are signing off.